Good evening, guys. Today I will be painting one of those teeny tiny Gothic castles that you guys asked me about. So let's get started. I'm going to be using these colors today. The deep violet, the magenta, the Liquitex titanium white, and let me see where my processed black is. There we go, some processed black. And I'm going to be using a yellow. I think I'm going to go with the processed yellow today. So we'll see. That may change. We will see. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to set my paint on my canvas. Now for miniature painting, I really only need a very tiny amount. But I do paint a lot. So if I know I'm going to paint several paintings in one session, then I'll put a lot more paint on. So 1 second, let me go ahead and do that. Now if you're painting with me, you can use whatever colors you want to. It doesn't matter. But here we go. Look, here's the palette. It gets full kind of quick. I literally just peeled this palette just a week ago. So, okay, so the first things first, the paintbrush I'm going to be using is this wash brush. A 1/2 inch wash brush. And I'm going to be using a size 0. I've trimmed it just a little bit to get that fine point brush for details. Okay, so I'm going to do the background first with a little bit of the deep violet. I really like this color. A little tiny bit of the magenta. Now the thing with miniature painting is you got to be careful not to put too much paint on because it's such a tiny little canvas, right? So we don't want to overload it. See this little fella? I'm also using acrylics, which is great if you want to paint a lot of paintings and you want to do it fast because it dries pretty quick. So, and especially if you're on a small scale like this, I can just go right over it. I usually like to do 2 or 3 coats. That's what I like to do. It seems to make the colors pop. Now I started doing that when I had cataracts and I could hardly see anything. So I made all my paintings super thick. So although I couldn't see real good, I could still paint because I could feel my way around. So, but that's a story for another day. Okay. Oh, you know what? I forgot to tell you. What I did was grab a size 0 brush. This is what I use for texture. Do you see that? And I trim the bristles off. That's what I do. Trim them off so that I can create a little texture with the brushes instead of throwing them away. Why not reuse it, right? When it doesn't have that sharp little point anymore. So I'm going to dab in the processed black. And I like to create a little bit of texture. If you've seen some of my castles before, you'll notice, if you see where the light hits them, that I use a lot of texture in the bottom of my paintings. So it's a little trademark of mine. You see that? When I turn it, you can kind of see the texture. You see? So, right. I don't want to put too much paint on, but just enough to create a little bit of texture right there. So, let's see. Almost done. Now, I only do 1 coat usually for the texture because there's usually more than enough paint on here to create enough texture. So, and then I'm using the black, so I don't really need to go over it to make it any brighter because it just is what it is. There we go. See? Now I'm going to do grab my size 0 and a little bit of white and a tiny bit, you know what? I'm going to use the cadmium yellow for this because I'm going to do like a little sun in the sky. This one here. Liquitex Basic Acrylic. Cadmium yellow deep. And then I'm going to draw a tiny, 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 tiny little moon in the sky. It's, oops, almost messed it up then. There we go. Can always go back over it later if I need to. That will do for right now. All right. So after rinsing my brush, I'm going to go ahead and use that same brush, this size 0, and I'm going to grab some processed black. Hold on, I need to put a little bit more on my palette. And grab a little bit of that, load the brush up, tiny bit of water, not too much, because you want it to flow, right? You want it to flow. There we go. And this is how I paint my castles, guys. Half of my paintings are painted upside down, let me tell you that for nothing, because I find it easier to do certain things like branches, when I do the creepy trees, and also when I do my castles. So I'll start off with them like this, upside down, just because the paintbrush flows better. You see that? So that's what I do. I just do like a, almost like I'm sketching with the pen, with the paintbrush. That's what it is. Almost like a sketch. And there we go. What I'm doing is tiny, tiny, tiny little lines almost to create a silhouette. You see? There we go. Don't know if you can hear the plane going over. We live right by an airport, so it happens, but you get used to them. You see? Just almost like I'm sketching a little castle. Let's turn him around the right way. And we will do, rinse off the brush. Got to make sure that that's dry, so I give that a couple of seconds there. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to go ahead and mix the cadmium yellow with the titanium white. That's what I'm going to do, because I'm going to do the tiny, tiny windows. Okay, so let's do that. Hold on a second. Let's do these tiny details. Okay. There we go. Now, I'm going to go ahead and give that a couple of seconds to dry. Again, that's what's great about acrylics, guys, is the fact that they dry so quick, and it's just perfect for me for miniatures. And I used to love oils, let me tell you, but it takes so long to dry. And I like to, I paint a lot. So, although I get a more realistic look with oils, I I love acrylic because I can work super fast with it. Right, we've done the little windows, teeny tinies. Now we're going to do the trees for the forest, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay. There goes another plane. My bad, guys, if you can hear that. Not much I can do about it. Okay, so I'm using the size 0 brush again. I'm using a little bit of the Process Black. And I'm just going to almost sketch. You know, it's almost sketching with the paintbrush. That's what it is. You know, when I was at college, I used to hate painting. Hate it. I thought to myself, oh my goodness, there's no way I can paint realistically with just a paintbrush. I have to sketch it out, and I'd much rather use colour pencils. And I used to love to do detailed colour pencil drawings. So I used to love doing that. So I really didn't want to paint. I only painted because I had to. But it was later on in life that I learned to really play around with it and paint so much that I actually am confident to paint without sketching. I never sketch with a pencil. Very rare. I may have done it once or twice with a couple of little paintings, but I just paint with the paintbrush. There we go. There's a couple of trees right there. Let's do a couple more on the other side. Let's balance it out a tad, shall we? Let's do that. Let's do that. So, but yeah, it relaxes me. Painting always calms me. And with my ADHD, it's just what I need sometimes. To just be calm. So, anyway. So we're going to finish with the tree. That's what we are going to do. And I think we're done. Look at that, guys. That just took, what, 12 minutes? 12 minutes to do this little fella. See the texture? It's already dried hard and you can see it a lot more. But that is how I do my little castles. Now, you know, sometimes I'll go into it and I'll do some more little ravens, little birds or little bats and do some more detail. But that's basically it, guys. That is really it. They're pretty simple, you know. So thank you for being here. I might do, let me see. I might do, show you the other castle that I did with the water. That's what I might do next time. So, anyway, until next time, have a good evening, guys. So long.